What's going on, my home studio engineers? Thank you so much for checking out the Home Recording Network and welcome back for day 30 of this journey to better and more professional home studio mixes, where we've been walking through this song that was tracked, mixed, and mastered in my home studio. And in case you missed it, here is a clip from the song we've been going over.
These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into destined unaware, just what will be done. Looking for treason and overtake the throne and sink to the bottom on our own.
We've been through a lot of information over these 30 days. We've been through some pre-mix considerations. We walked through the drums, the bass, the guitars in this song. We spent several days going over vocals and so much more. If you've been following along, I hope you've learned a lot. The whole point of this series was to spark something inside you so that you could start mixing your home recorded tracks at a whole new level. Now we are on the final day and our last step, which of course is to master our home recorded song and get it out there for the whole world to hear. If you've learned anything in these 30 days, please don't forget to like and subscribe so that I can reach more people like yourself who are trying to create competitive music from their home. Any support is extremely helpful and helps me to reach more aspiring engineers. Now, let's get on with our final step and hop inside this mastering session. All right, guys, so we are in the mastering session for this song, and this is actually a mastering session for all of this band's songs. So I have just a whole nother project that I will create when I go to master a song, and I have a file like this for every band that I master. And I think it is really important to actually bounce your mix and then just move it to a new session. So we are just listening to the song as a whole and we're not distracted by anything that is going on in the mix. Now, in this video, I'm going to be going over everything I did with regards to mastering for this song. And I'm going to show you how to ensure that your song is loud enough for streaming services. The first thing I'll do when I go to master a song is, of course, import the song, the original. So up here we have the original mix. No plugins are on this track, so it is exactly as I mixed it. But then I'll just copy the track down and just create a new track. And this is going to be the track that I master. I always want to have the original there to listen to see if I'm actually making an improvement on the mix. So down here we have the master and we have the original right above it. What's important to consider is that if you are mastering multiple songs that are going on the same EP or album, those should also be in this project as well. So right above the original here, we actually have a song that has already been mastered and is going on the same EP. And this is important because you want to make sure that the balances are about the same in each song. And again, because these songs were going on the same EP, this Poison Master Joel was the song that I was referencing along with this master, just to make sure that both mixes or masters had about the same high end, low end, and mids. Now, before I even start mastering, I will go to the track and take the fader down to negative -0.1. This is to ensure that we don't have any clipping because we're going to be throwing a limiter on there, which is going to make this song a lot louder. Uh, and the limiter is actually supposed to stop at 0 dB. It's supposed to stop anything from clipping, but just to ensure against that, I always take the master fader on this track down to negative -0.1. Now, just so I don't blast your eardrums, I'm going to take the fader of the track, of the master track, down to -4 so it's not too loud for you guys. And I'm going to do the same for the other master that we're going to be referencing. Again, just so it's not super loud for you guys. Now, let's just listen to a comparison of the before and after. And the master track here is obviously going to be a bit louder, but it's got a lot more weight to it, specifically in the low end. So we'll start with the original here.
Just like you did. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into oblivion.
Okay, definitely an improvement on the mix. And we're going to get into what has actually been done here. But before I do, it's really important to know that the mastering is not something that's going to fix a bad mix. So your mix has to be on point. That's why I think it's important that you followed along within these 30 days so you could learn how to actually get most of the work done in the mixing stage. You're going to learn here that there wasn't actually a lot done in the mastering stage, and that should be the case. If you have a great mix, there really shouldn't be a lot of work for you to do to get this ready for streaming services and all that. 95% of the work is really done in the mix, and the master is just the icing on top of the cake. And if you look at the master we're going to be comparing to, there was actually only 2 plugins on that master. So there was barely anything done because that mix was such a great mix. We didn't actually need to do a lot in the mastering stage. And that's what I hope for every time. I hope that the mastering doesn't have to be complicated. I just want the mix to be almost 100% there already. Now, what I'm going to do is bypass all the plugins besides the limiter because I still want the volume to be there because we're going to be comparing to this other master. We will go through the limiter and what I did there, but we're just basically going to compare these 2 masters and then go through each one of these plugins. Let's pretend that I have just popped this into the project and we're going to start comparing with this other song that has already been completed and mastered. I will just play the song and occasionally solo the reference. And at this point, we're listening for the balance between songs. Like, does one song have more high end or low end? Let's listen for that right now.
Just like you did. It's a chemical in these kings and queens. Head for destruction. In a moment.
Now, right there, it is obvious that our song that we are trying to master that's going on the same EP as this other song is very thin. It's bright. It doesn't have as much low end. It's not as beefy as this other song. Listen again. If you really listen for like the kick and the bass, you can really hear it.
Just like you did. It's a endless retreat.
Yeah, so basically the song is too crispy and we need to do some work on maybe cutting some highs and making the low end, maybe some mids more prominent. The first plugin I threw on there is Virtual Mix Rack because I love this custom series EQ for working on the whole mix. It's a very gentle EQ where you can boost and not really hurt the mix, and you only have these fixed areas to EQ or boost or cut. The first area I decided to boost was 100 hertz. This is where we are lacking, one of the areas we are lacking in this mix, and it's just a 1 dB boost at 100. And these should all be very subtle moves, but let me bypass this and we'll play the song and I'll bring it in and listen to see if we enlarge the low end at all.
Just like you did. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into oblivion.
Again, very subtle move, but that is helping us. It's putting us in the right direction. We still have more moves to make, but I like to do some subtle changes with a couple different plugins, in order to get to my end result. I don't want to boost too big with any one plugin. Next, we went to our Pro Q3, and as you can see, there are a bunch of tiny moves here. Let me talk about the low and high end shelf cuts that we have here. So to tighten up my low end, I will come all the way down to like 10 hertz, something that's not even audible to the human ear, and do maybe half a dB to a dB cuts. And even though we're cutting it at 10 here, we're also cutting some of the frequencies above this. So when you take a shelf like this and bring it down, we are still affecting the areas above and below. And because this song was overly bright in comparison to our other song, we also have a dB and a half up here at 20K. Now, this is very high up, but as I said, a cut here is even cutting some of the areas above. And I'll actually let you listen to all of this.
Just like
Now, this is going to make our song obviously less bright and bring it back down to the level of the other mix that we're comparing to. But this might not be the case for you. I don't often do as big of a dB and a half cut at this area, but every mix is different. Maybe your mix isn't bright enough and you're boosting a little bit here. Like I said, every situation is going to be different. So we also have a small cut here at 4K, which is the real harsh frequency. And then to work on our low end and kind of beef this song up, we also have a bump at 30 hertz, all the way down at 30, and then a bump at 85 to kind of help out the bass guitar. And these are very small boosts. This one's not even a dB. This one's just under a dB. But if you notice, this is set to the middle of the mix. We're not working on the sides at all right here. And you can do that by just selecting the band and choosing what you want to EQ. You can just work on the sides, the middle, or left and right, or you can work in stereo, which is how we're typically working on our EQ. That's the default setting. So here we're just set to the middle and we have those little bumps. Now let's play the song and we'll bring this in and out to see if we're closer to where we want to be in comparison to the other mix.
just like you did. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into oblivion.
So it definitely helped add some weight, made the song less bright, but let's still just compare to the other song.
Just like you did. It's a chemical these kings and queens.
We are a lot closer there. And these songs don't have to be perfectly matched. There's no saying that we have to do that, but we definitely want them closer. So the next EQ we went to is the Pole Tech for some coloration and some additional low end. So here we're boosting at 100, and let's check this one out. I'm going to turn it on, bring it out, and bring it in and out for you.
Just like you did. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into oblivion.
And I think right there we've accomplished the low end that we need in this song in order for this to be on the same release as our first song. So this is a great coloration EQ. I love using it on my masters. Any of the Pultecs are great. And we have one last plugin before our limiter, and it's actually a de-esser. Now, you might say, why would you put a de-esser on your master? And there's a very good reason for this. All a de-esser is really one band of a multi-band compressor. So we can use this to compress the very high end of our mix, which this mix actually needed because it was super bright. And the FabFilter Pro DS actually has a setting here in mastering called high end transient limiting. So we're actually just limiting the very high end transients of the mix. And we shouldn't be getting a ton of gain reduction here, but this will definitely help on the super high transients of our mix. So let's see how much gain reduction we're getting.
Just like you did. These kings and queens, they all fall, they all fall. Headless back into oblivion.
At the most, we're getting around 2 dB of gain reduction, and it really helped to darken our mix nicely. Now let's compare once more with the other master.
Just like you did. It's a chemical emotions, kings and queens, they all headless back into.
Now I am completely satisfied with that, and our two masters are very close. So I think we did a good job there. Now, the last step is obviously to make this song as loud as it needs to be, and loud enough so that when we put it on streaming services, it's going to be as loud as the other music out there. And with everything that's changed over the years for streaming services specifically, I choose to make my masters as loud as possible now. I used to try to keep as much of the dynamics intact, but that does no good if you upload it to streaming services and your music's quieter than everything else. Now, all the streaming services, Apple and Spotify, have different levels for what you should be kind of exporting your track at and uploading them to those streaming services at. So to ensure that our song is loud enough for any platform, I just choose to make my masters super loud. Now, to make our masters louder, that's really easy, right? You just add on a limiter and add your gain. Now, I use the Pro L from FabFilter. It really doesn't matter what limiter you're using. I don't really care about that. I don't think it matters that much. So whatever you're using is fine. But how loud should it be, right? How do we know how loud we should actually make this? Should we add 10 dB again? Should we add 5? Well, there's a measurement these streaming services are using, and that is LUFS. So if you pull up the loudness meter in Logic, this will help you tremendously. If you don't have Logic, you should have an LUFS meter in your DAW. If you don't, I'm sure there are some free meters out there. And the specific LUFS measurement that we are looking for is the integrated, which is a measurement over time. So you literally have to start this meter, play the whole song through, and then look for what your integrated LUFS is. Now, for me, I like my songs to be between -9 and -10. Now, this will actually make the streaming services turn the song down once I upload them or once the band uploads them. But I'd rather put it on the streaming service to turn the volume down than have the song be too quiet and not match up to the other music on the service. Now, I will hit start here and play through the whole song, but I won't make you guys sit through the whole thing, so I'll see you back in a second.
And they all fall down.
We are sitting right at -9 integrated LUFS, and this is the exact same as the other song that's going on the same release. So this is a great way to level match your songs. Guys, the last 30 days has been awesome. I hope you've learned a lot. But if you want to see this stuff in much more detail, I do have a 14-day free trial for my Masters of Home Recording membership. I go through a lot of this stuff really in depth. There's a lot of mix walkthroughs that go way deeper than we did in the last 30 days. And this mix and master will actually be up before the end of 2021. So if you want to see this in more detail, try it for 14 days for free. There's really nothing to lose there. The link's in the description for that, along with my mix guide and my weekly mix training that I hold, and that is free as well. But if you have any questions or need any help, just reach out to me. I am absolutely here to help and support you. But that's it for this series. I hope you've learned a lot. Happy mixing, guys. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide with your go-to EQ and compression settings for all your tracks. And also be sure to register for my free online mix training that I hold a couple times a week so that you can learn how to make radio quality music from your home without breaking the bank.